Hi, Matthew here and welcome to another video. If you're new to the channel, then please like and subscribe. I'll be bringing lots of regular content on all things property and buy-to-let. In today's video, we are going to touch on some of the key absolute must-dos for anyone looking to get into buy-to-let property. The first thing is to stop thinking of buy-to-let as a passive investment, just like the stock market. In order to be the most successful you can and generate the greatest return on your investment, you need to think like a business owner and treat the ownership of buy-to-let property as a business. You don't simply throw some money into a property, stick a tenant in and boom, you retire to the beach. Just like any other business, buy-to-let can be and should be a well-oiled, efficient machine with many moving parts and many opportunities to improve it, or indeed stuff it up altogether. It doesn't matter if you have one property or intend on having a multi-million pound portfolio. The principles are exactly the same, one property at a time, with its own set of circumstances, challenges and opportunities to operate in the most business-like way possible. The second thing, so now you're thinking like a business owner, you will need to make sure you operate like one. The first and most important thing there is to set yourself up with the correct buy-to-let limited company structure. Yes, you could operate as a sole trader or a partnership, but if you're fortunate enough to be doing this from day one, then do it right. Go limited and you will instantly be at a tax advantage and not held back in the future from growing to scale. Now, I did actually do a video about this a couple of weeks ago, specifically about buy-to-let limited company structure. I'll link to it in the card up here, so check that out after you've watched this one, of course. And the third thing, we've all heard the expression that you have to spend money to make money. Well, this couldn't be more the case when it comes to a good accountant. Yes, it's perfectly possible to do your own accounts online these days, and there's some great software programs out there to help you with your monthly bookkeeping. However, that is fundamentally all you're really doing, your bookkeeping. Yes, that is essential to do on a month-by-month basis to keep track of how you're performing. However, an accountant has a far more specialist skill set than simply bookkeeping. They will be aware of all the latest tax rules. Are you maximising your expenses through the business? Are you paying yourself in the most tax efficient way with a combination of salary and dividend? Yes, an accountant may seem expensive. However, if you get just one element of your accounts wrong, not only could you miss out on some great tax efficiencies, you may possibly even find yourself with a fine. Peace of mind is definitely worth the cost of a good accountant, and you'll find that over the long term they will pay for themselves. And they may not have all the solutions themselves, but if you find a proactive accountant, they will at least have the right connections. Number 4, your finances. Yes, this may seem predictable to point out, but it is of course very important. With regards to your mortgage, for example, don't simply walk into the bank that you've been with your entire life and accept the first deal that they throw your way. The mortgage advisor isn't your friend, they're there to make money. Shop around, it will pay you to speak to an independent mortgage advisor. They will generally have access to a wider variety of products across the whole market. Be aware that most lenders will request at least a 25% deposit, and they'll also want rent to cover at least 125% of the monthly interest payment. At the time of shopping around for your mortgage, you are in the strongest position to both negotiate and take advantage of other people's knowledge. Just like you're not expected to be an accountant, you can't expect it to be a mortgage broker either. You can, however, do just enough research and learn from the specialist that you speak to. Know what to look out for, so by the time you've shopped around thoroughly and spoken to various experts, you'll start to see a recurring pattern in the advice that they're offering you. This should then be pointing you in the direction of the best deal. They want your business at the end of the day, so be patient, give yourself plenty of time and flexibility. There's no shame in walking away if the deal just doesn't feel right. Number 5, you must do your sums, do them again, and then get someone to check them. We've all seen the TV shows where some novice property investor goes to auction, snaps up a bargain and then overspends by 300%, and yet somehow still makes a profit. All I can say is there's a hint of luck involved. A strong rise in market can often mitigate a lot of overspend. However, you really cannot rely on this. Take your time, be thorough, and get your numbers right. So let's assume you've now secured the best mortgage deal you can find. That's the first set of numbers that you've now got in check. Your mortgage will most likely have been dependent on a financial plan of how you intend on buying, potentially renovating, and then renting out the property. This is another example of an area where you may need to lean on the expertise of someone else. You may, for example, need a well-skilled tradesman to produce thorough estimates of how much it's going to cost to get your property rental ready. Once you're on top of all the outgoings, you will of course need to know how much rent you can expect each month. Speak with local agents, even ask them to conduct a market appraisal of your property. You can of course do your own basic research on the likes of Rightmove. Check within a 5-mile radius for prices of all the let agreed properties. This should give you a good indication of how your property stacks up against the competition. Be sure to factor in maintenance costs. Things don't last forever. That boiler will break at some point, the wind will blow down your fence, and some tenants will cause you the requirement to redecorate from time to time. Once you have all your figures together, you will be in a position then to calculate your yield. What is a good yield? In theory, higher the better, of course. Your mortgage provider will certainly think so. However, this can vary wildly depending on the location and the market that you're in. It may be the case that a property with a particularly high yield could underperform when it comes to capital growth, and vice versa. It's a bit of a balancing act. You will need to satisfy your own personal requirements and financial commitments. If you need a large income each month because you've got heavy outgoings, then you may find that a high yielding property best serves those needs. Or if you're in this for the long haul, then you may find that capital appreciation is your main focus. Of course, a high yielding property with strong capital growth is the dream scenario. And finally, be the best landlord you can be. There is a lot more to being a landlord than simply having a tenant in a property. There are a lot of rules and legislations that you need to be aware of. They change frequently, so be sure to stay on top of them. The last thing you want to find is that you're unknowingly breaking the law for some reason and you end up with a big fine. Tenants need to respect that you are a professional landlord and that you're fully abreast of all the terms and conditions of the tenancy agreement and how to act upon them if you need to. Quite frankly, if you present yourself as an amateur, this will be taken advantage of. You don't need to be militant with your landlording, and you will find that quite often you'll need to be flexible with your own standards. You must always ensure that you provide a certain level of service that you'd be happy to receive yourself. I assume you intend on charging top dollar for your property, so your tenant deserves value for money. Think of yourself more as a hotelier and your tenant is your guest and you want them to enjoy their stay. They will present you with challenges and demands at times, but it's down to you to handle those in the most effective way you can. So in summary, the points I've just presented to you are fundamentally about your mindset as a buy-to-let landlord and how your buy-to-let business will have multiple plates spinning at one time. Now, being the best landlord and business owner you can will keep the majority of those plates spinning, but don't be afraid to lean on others to keep their plates spinning for you. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will be back again with another video very soon. Thank you.